big pleasure. I'm sitting here in the beautiful Rheingau in the city of Lorch, together with Jochen Neher from the Weingut Mohr. One of our 2026 exhibitors is the Cool Climate Wine Summit, and a big pleasure to be here, Jochen, and looking forward to get to know you a little bit better for the visitors and everybody else who's interested in cool climate wines.
Yeah, welcome to Lorch. It's a very nice small city in the western part of Rheingau, and we have steep slopes and very elegant and crispy wines, especially Riesling and Pinot Noir.
Looking forward to dive a little bit into it. But before we go into the winery and go into like your wines and discuss the styles a little bit, I want to ask you 4 questions that I ask every winemaker in the beginning.
Yes.
And the first one, to get you a little bit better to know, is quite simple. If you would not be a winemaker today, what would be your alternative career path?
I would be a biochemist, especially in research for new ideas in biology.
Okay, working with university?
With
or?
university, yeah.
Okay, and any specific field that you were especially
Connected
fascinated?
to wine, anyway.
Naturally. Good, I love it. And now maybe like going into that immediately, is this also like something that that really has impact on your winemaking today?
I'm very open for new ideas, and my skills are quite good, and so it's a good basic for making good wines.
Let's go for the second question. You are a winemaker today, and naturally winemakers are always influenced in their style by something or somebody.
Yeah.
So if you have to point to somebody or some school of thought that really influenced your winemaking style today.
So before I studied in Geisenheim, I went to France, to the southern part of the Rhône Valley.
Mm-hmm.
I spent almost half a year in Pernes-les-Fontaines, that's Vaucluse, and in Rhône Valley near Sablé.
Mm-hmm.
So I know how to make good wines in a warmer part of Europe. Then I went to New Zealand to get to know how to make cooler climate wines, and I worked with Herman Seyfried from Seyfried Winery in the northern part of the southern island of New Zealand, and I also spent half a year. And that was a great experience because it was end of the 80s and I started to work with wooden barrels, barrique. At that time, almost nobody except Joner, Kessler, and those guys, they started working with that, but otherwise it was unknown in Germany how to treat and how to work a wine in a wooden barrel in that style.
Beautiful. So a little bit of pioneering work here, and as you just said, open for new ideas, right? Going out into the world.
And I was the first guy who started to take off leaves in the vineyards in Lorch, because this was also unknown end of the 80s.
So canopy management was very early on something you focus on. Okay, interesting.
And now it's standard. Everything, the barrels and taking off leaves from the wines. I also went to California to work in sparkling wines, Dominicaneros.
Dominicaneros, okay, yeah.
It's a part of Taittinger, and this was very interesting as well, because the second winemaker came during harvest, and it was a very good experience and exchange as well.
So you came a lot around, got a lot of like interesting influences. So maybe the next question will be a bit difficult for you, given all that. If you look at your personality, and you should describe your personality as you see yourself as a bottle of wine, what bottle comes to your mind?
So it must be a Riesling for sure. Coming from an older vineyard, so I'm turning to become 60 this year. So it must be a wine, old wines, and not too young in taste, but there should be a very well balance between acid, sugar, alcohol. It must be a very elegant and as well crisp wine, and that can age for a long time.
It's kind of funny that you describe it like this, because when I came here this morning, yesterday, I think your parents had their anniversary, their wedding anniversary, right? And you opened yesterday a bottle of 1955 Riesling from your father. And you left me a small sip, which I highly appreciate. So I could
and it's
enjoy
fine.
that this morning. And exactly, it was 70-year-old wine, and we just discussed it, how crisp, how lively, how mineral it was, and also like the whole idea about that probably your father's generation, they did a lot of things very right in the cellar to have wines that have this longevity, right, in a way. So I'm looking forward for you, on your behalf, for your 60th birthday, that you have some good bottles there in the cellar you can open.
Yeah, that's for sure, yeah.
Final question for the introduction round. It's an open statement, so to say. I just say nature, and you tell me what comes to your mind regarding your work as a winemaker.
So 2011 we changed to organic production in the winery, and it's a very important step concerning wine quality for me. I'm not the guy that is with full bard and Birkenstock on the feet. I'm more into thinking in circles, in recycling, and I think we must care for the nature for the next generations that will come, and it will be hard work for them and for the world.
Perfect. We will talk a little bit about global warming and its effect on your region and your winemaking style a little bit later. But before going into that, can you briefly introduce us to Weingut Mohr?
Okay. What about a sip of wine?
We can have a sip of wine while we do this, definitely.
Okay. I will explain the wine as well. It's a very outstanding wine. Comes from a single vineyard, and it is in Lorch. The vineyard is Schlossberg, but the most interesting thing is that this wine comes from the vineyard with the oldest plants in the whole Rheingau region. So this vineyard was planted 1934.
1934, okay.
So it's 90 years old, and it still brings a very fruity, elegant, full-body wine that is always outstanding in our collection.
Are the wines on original wood stocks, on European wood stocks? No, okay.
No. They are crafted.
They're crafted.
So I start with this wine because it represents a little bit the winery as well, because it's a wine you can't find somewhere else in Rheingau region. And we call it just Riesling 34 because it was planted in 1934 and it's promised that there's no older vineyard plants anywhere in this region. Concerning the winery, we say Mohr, our family name, comes from Spain. In the Middle Age, the Moors from Morocco, they came to Spain and developed this land, irrigation system and knowledge of health, treatment and medicine and science. They were a lot ahead compared to the Europe, and they brought the culture to Europe. And because of our name, we say that we have roots from there, and probably the family left from there in the Middle Age around 1500.
1500, okay.
And the titles you see on our labels, they come from Granada, from the Alhambra, and it's a sign you find everywhere in our winery, on the glass, on the buildings, and it's our statement that Mohr is a good name. So my great-grandfather, he established another company to the winery, and this was 1875.
1875, okay.
So this year, 2025, we celebrate 150 years Weingut Mohr.
As it is today, here in this place?
Yeah,
or?
as it is here in this place and still
Behind
in
us.
family.
Yeah. That's
outstanding as well.
Very amazing tradition and history to look back to, right?
Yeah.
Shall we have a nose of this
the wine,
beautiful?
Very
What a,
nice fruit.
what a concentration.
Yeah.
I mean, this is clearly outstanding. Wow. It's so much spice, so much herbal notes, so much power in it, but also like beautiful citric elements. And the fruit really is like, when people tell you like, oh, Riesling is all about green apples and green pear. Honestly, you learn this in WSET. So I'm like, tastes like wine from old wines, because this really like gives you this kind of fruity, complex essence, right? There's a touch of acacia honey, but also like things the minerality of the Rheingau, which for me is so typical. This kind of sweaty minerality is really coming out nicely. This is really a beautiful bottle of wine.
Yeah, you're welcome to have another sip.
I will have to. Cheers.
Cheers.
Definitely. So talking about culture and cultural elements maybe, and the history that you have also from the relation to Mohr and Spain. So you are married to a woman from Turkey. Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps after 500 years, I'm still in this oriental move. And this is why I found a wife, or a woman from Turkey. And you don't see, but I like good food. And Turkish food is, or Osmanian food is one of the big kitchen in the world. Chinese, French or Italian, and the Turkish food is the real outstanding kitchen in the world. Beside of the Scandinavian, for sure now.
Naturally, of course, yeah. You have to say that.
And yeah, we play this game that I make elegant Riesling and she makes very nice food, Mediterranean food that goes very well with our wines.
And you have actually here at the estate, here in Lorch, you also have a small restaurant, so to say, right? In German, we call it Straußwirtschaft, which is open irregularly at certain times of the year. And there also, like, I guess the food is a little bit influenced by these Oriental Turkish style.
Yeah, we only serve Turkish food, but not döner kebab. So it's real homemade style food, like börek and dolma. And hummus. It's very tasty and goes very well with the wine, because the Turkish food is not that spicy as Arabic food, for example. And my wife gives cooking courses, Turkish cooking courses, and they are quite
popular. Lovely. And I mean, this may be like also to be an invitation, because many people who like might listen to this or hear this might travel to Berlin once in a while, and actually you are pretty well represented with your wines in the Berlin wine scene when it comes to, let's say, medium and higher class Turkish restaurants, right? You build a network there. So if you are in a Turkish restaurant in Berlin, I think you definitely can have a look on the wine list for Weingut Mohr.
Sure. Yeah, you should.
Beautiful. Let's, aside from the cultural history and so on of the estate, maybe another like aspect that I would like to talk about with you. You are an Ecovine member, you're an organic winery, so nature is pretty much at the forefront or in focus with everything that you do in the winery and in the vineyards. Let's talk about global warming, because that is something everybody talks about these days. And I think the recent vintages that we had, especially in Germany, really showed us, okay, it is happening. We cannot deny it anymore, and it's putting a lot of challenges on us regarding the winemaking.
I feel the global warming since the 90s.
Since the 90s, okay.
Yeah, and we have to deal with that. And one good thing is that in our region is also very well known for Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
And so I am focusing on Pinots as well in general. So we planted, when I came back from New Zealand, I started planting Pinot Blanc. Now we also have a little field of Pinot Gris, and we have lots of Pinot Noir. And I think nowadays our climate in our region, Rheingau, is the same as they had in Burgundy in the 60s.
In Burgundy, the 60s, okay. That is the comparison.
Probably in a few years, we will make the best Pinots in the world.
I love that statement. I'm much looking forward to it.
And for a reasonable price as well, at the moment.
I think this is really something we feel, for example, like when we look at the winemakers in the Ahr Valley at the moment, right? Because I really see also like in Scandinavia, increasing demand for German red wines, especially Spätburgunder.
Yeah,
and I think it's also like really important to really make people aware of the super high quality that German red wines come with these days, right? And not only Spätburgunder, actually, like maybe also like an interesting question regarding new plantings. Now we didn't talk about how many hectares you have today in the winery.
So we have 9.5 hectare.
9.5, okay.
And it's mainly Riesling, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Blanc.
And
we grow as well, and this is also very interesting. With the climate changing, we can plant. 15 years ago, we planted Gelber Muskateller. Yellow muscat.
Gelber Muskateller,
that comes from the south, but now it becomes ripe every year in our region.
Okay. And it's how is if you have to plant anew today?
Okay.
Imagine like your 9.5 hectares are totally empty. What would you do?
The next variety I'm focusing on is a PIWI, and it's called Blütenmuskateller.
Blütenmuskateller.
It has roots in Russia, and it's fruity, similar to yellow muscat, but easier to handle.
Easier to handle
in the field.
Because the Muskateller is getting really difficult also at the moment with the temperatures at the end of the year.
Not because of the temperature, but the grapes are big and the berries are big, and the skins are very thin, and you risk to either they are unripe or they are rotten. And because they are so tasty, you have to protect them against birds and flies and it's wasps. So it's quite difficult to handle the grape.
That's what I heard like from several winemakers on my trip so far, that everybody who has Gelber Muskateller is a little bit like,
it's a hobby.
Morio Muscat is also like another catastrophe, right? Because it's so difficult, getting so sweet so quickly in the end of the season, and then all the animals are immediately like picking on it, and this is affecting then the other vineyard sites. So yeah, let's see, that's interesting.
My father planted was hast du gesagt?
Morio Muscat.
My father planted Morio Muscat in the 70s.
Yeah.
We don't have it anymore, but I still have some wines from that time, and they are great. It's amazing.
I mean, it's a beautiful aromatic grape variety that probably can ripen for quite a while if it's well made, right? Shall we dive into some red wine?
Yeah.
I mean, you brought a very lovely bottle here.
Yeah. The next wine is my favorite red. It's from Assmannshäuser. We are a stone throw away from Assmannshäuser, not far away. And Assmannshäuser is the most celebrated vineyard for red wines, for Pinot Noir in Rheingau, and one of the best Pinots in Germany.
I think for everybody who didn't try like Pinot Noirs from Assmannshäuser, they definitely have to try those. I mean, this is absolutely
And when I came into the winery in the beginning of the 90s, it was an aim to have a vineyard in Assmannshäuser Höllenberg, because that's the premium vineyard in our region.
Beautiful.
And now we have 0.6 hectare in Assmannshäuser, and it brings an outstanding red wine. And the wine I brought is also from old wines. They are as old as me.
So nearly 60 years old.
Nearly 60 years old, and they bring a very outstanding quality in the vineyard and in the glass as well.
Beautiful, beautiful color.
It's vintage is 2020.
I think really like, I mean, for people who did not try Assmannshäuser Pinot Noir yet, right? It's something really special in style to me. It's if you look in the Pinot landscape in Germany, Assmannshäuser, I mean, it's called Assmannshäuser Höllenberg, right? And Höllenberg, maybe to translate it, is the mountain of hell. Which is
to
like,
work there is a hell.
I imagine this is probably like
it's steep.
One of the reasons why it's called
hell.
like this, and super hot in summer, I guess, right? I mean, really the wine, the river reflection is really hitting it hard. And then also like if I have the style in the nose, I mean,
but it has a cool style.
It has a cool style, but it's also like it smells of fire. It smells of dust.
Cassis.
It smells of, yeah, exactly, like a little bit more intense, like red fruits. Cassis, I think, is a very nice description. But I feel just like a lot of like spirit and energy in those wines from the Assmannshäuser and Höllenberg usually. I would say maybe a little bit like less, I mean, it sounds maybe hard for a winemaker, a little bit less elegance and a little bit more rustic style, which is very powerful, very great. And I mean, you have this in the nose and you think like immediately you need something on the table to it. It's an amazing structured food wine, right?
But
and I didn't even have to sit with it.
But you always have the acid.
Exactly.
Compared to the warmer Pinots, it still comes from a cooler climate and it has the elegant acid that will keep for a long time during aging as well. So you can keep Höllenberg for 20 years without problem.
It's beautiful. I mean, like you have definitely the acidity, as you say. You have a great fruit profile, but also like it's very tannic actually, in a very positive way for a Pinot. Really gives you some structure in the mouth. Alcohol is at 13. Oh yeah, okay, 13%. I think it suits it really, really well. And then it just lingers here, right? And I mean, you have, of course, some oak barrel on it. I think the oak impression is really lingering here nicely.
It's 2 years in oak.
Yeah, really beautiful in the aftertaste actually. It's that's really like a fun type of Pinot Noir, and I really urge people like to come and try Rheingau Pinot Noir. I mean, that's a nice thing. It's a Cool Climate Wine Summit, where in 2026 in Copenhagen you can also meet Weingut Mohr as an exhibitor. I mean, we have basically like winemakers from definitely all German cool climate regions, so the classic regions at 50 degrees north. And I definitely urge you to go, not only to taste the Riesling, which is outstanding from Germany, but I think the red wines is really something that we should put a little bit focus on, right? It's a third of the German vineyard area is now red wines, so there's definitely a big development going on. It's totally outstanding.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers on that. To round it off a little bit, so if you look a little bit into the future, I mean, now naturally you're coming to Copenhagen, you are very much like lively and energetic, and you still try to reinvent yourself, I guess, and you still want to expand and develop your business. But 5 years from now, where are you and where's the winery?
So 5 years from now I will be retired, hopefully. And my aim is to consult wineries in Turkey.
In Turkey, okay.
Because my wife's from Turkey and we know quite a lot of winemakers there, and it's worth staying in winter in Turkey and summer perhaps in Denmark.
And maybe it's a quick bridge. I mean, Turkey is now not really a cool climate wine region. That's true. But there's happening a lot of cool stuff, right? I mean, this is really like a winemaker scene that is a little bit overseen internationally, but it's really developing, right?
Yeah, that's true. And they also go in the cooler climate areas in the mountains to produce elegant white wines. So this will be good for me.
That's wonderful. So see you in Copenhagen in January 2026. Looking forward to meet you there, and maybe on the road.
It's the third time I come to Copenhagen, so I love the city as well. And I've been several times in Denmark, traveling around for holidays and for business. And my family and me, we love this country, and we love that they start to appreciate German wine as well.
Definitely. And if you are by any chance during the summer in Rüdesheim, because many people travel there, just take a little bit of step to the left, actually, drive like 20 minutes out. To the west, so to say. If you're on the map, to the west, a little bit up the Rhine, follow the Wine Rivers Run, and come to the city of Lorch and visit, for example, Weingut Mohr here in the Straußwirtschaft with some great Turkish food and some really nice Riesling and Schwipperger.
And in Assmannshäuser you have the hotel and the restaurant Zwei Mooren.
Yeah. And
the family also have connections to Denmark, because the senior owner she's from Denmark as well.
Beautiful.
So
Jochen,
you feel at home in Rheingau.
Thank you for your time today.
Yeah.
And see you in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.